Welcome back to WWE Express. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. Hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell because what we're about to discuss is a moment that defines the very essence of professional wrestling legacy. Please hit that subscribe button right now, because we're about to break down a scene that might never air on television, a scene that represents everything wrestling is really about at its core. Imagine this. The cameras have stopped rolling. Wrestlemania is in the books. The dust has settled, the crowd has gone home, and the arena sits quiet except for the footsteps of legends moving through the backstage area. Brock Lesnar, the Beast incarnate, one of the most dominant forces professional wrestling has ever produced, is in a moment of reflection. And that's when it happens. Roman Reigns walks up, not with aggression, not with competition still burning in his eyes, but with something deeper. Behind him comes the Undertaker, a man whose presence alone seems to shift the energy of any room he enters. Two generations of wrestling royalty approaching one of the most polarizing, powerful figures the industry has ever known. This is the kind of moment that separates professional wrestling from every other form of entertainment. This is where the kayfabe dissolves and what remains is respect earned through blood, sweat, and years of commitment to a craft that demands everything from you. Brock Lesnar's career is a masterclass in dominance. From his earliest days as an NCAA Division I wrestler to his time in the WWE, from his ventures into mixed martial arts where he competed at the highest levels of combat sports, to his returns to wrestling where he reminded everyone why he's called the Beast, Lesnar has defined what it means to be an unstoppable force. He's held championships, he's defended them against the very best, he's main event WrestleManias and walked away victorious. But beyond the accolades and the championships, Brock represents something that the wrestling business will desperately miss if he ever truly walks away. He represents the bridge between legitimate athletic competition and sports entertainment. He's the rare performer who could legitimately hurt someone and also tell a story that captivates millions. When Roman Reigns approaches him in this quiet moment, it's significant. Roman, who has spent much of his career being positioned as the ultimate symbol of WWE, as the man the company is built around, as the one chosen to lead the company forward. But Roman has also evolved into something more nuanced. He's become a character with depth, with complexity, a man willing to be vulnerable when the moment calls for it. So when Roman walks up to Brock backstage, after everything they've been through, after every match, every rivalry, every moment of tension between them, there's a weight to it. Roman understands legacy. He understands what it takes to reach the level Brock has reached. And then there's the Undertaker. The Phenom. The man whose career spans generations. The man who literally grew up in front of the wrestling world, who has fought in era after era and somehow remained relevant, remained respected, remained legendary. The Undertaker has seen it all. He's watched careers begin, peak, and fade. He's been in the ring with the greatest performers wrestling has ever produced. He's main event WrestleManias that will be remembered forever. The Undertaker's presence backstage isn't just about nostalgia or legacy. It's about authenticity. It's about someone who has walked the path Brock is walking, who understands the sacrifice required, who recognizes excellence when he sees it. The tribute that unfolds between these three men represents something the wrestling world desperately needs to see and understand. It's about acknowledging that professional wrestling is bigger than any one person, bigger than any one era, bigger than any one company. It's about recognizing that when you reach the level of dominance that Brock Lesnar has achieved, when you've impacted the industry the way he has, when you've inspired the next generation and challenged the status quo, that's worth celebrating. Think about what makes Brock Lesnar unique. He's someone who could leave wrestling and succeed at the highest levels of professional sports. He's someone who has legitimate credibility as an athlete, not just as a performer. In an industry where the line between reality and fiction is deliberately blurred, Brock represents the reality side of that equation. When he hurts someone, people believe it's possible. When he wins a match, people understand that he's so strong, so athletic, so dangerous, that victory was inevitable. That's rare. That's valuable. That's the kind of performer that defines generations. When Roman delivers his tribute, he's not just speaking as a rival. He's speaking as someone who has competed at the highest levels of the industry and understands what separates good performers from great ones. Roman has faced Brock multiple times. He knows the power firsthand. He knows the intensity. He knows that matching intensity with Brock Lesnar requires not just physical strength but mental fortitude. So when Roman acknowledges Brock's impact, when he speaks to the legacy Lesnar has built, it carries weight because Roman himself is a legitimate top-tier performer. The Undertaker's words hit differently. The Undertaker has spent decades perfecting the craft of professional wrestling. He's trained under legends, he's mentored rising stars, he's been the measuring stick for excellence for a generation. When The Undertaker approaches Brock and offers his tribute, he's essentially confirming something that the wrestling world already knows: Brock Lesnar belongs in the conversation with the greatest wrestlers who have ever lived. The Undertaker doesn't casually give out respect. He doesn't lightly acknowledge other performers. So when he does, it means something. What's particularly important about this moment is what it represents for the wrestling industry's future. Brock Lesnar, by most accounts, is approaching the point in his career where decisions need to be made. He's conquered wrestling, he's conquered mixed martial arts, he's done things in the industry that few performers ever will. The question of what comes next is one that only Brock can answer. But a moment like this, where his impact is acknowledged by legends, where his contributions are honored by those who came before and those who are leading the charge now, that's a moment that transcends the storylines and the feuds and the championship belts. This is also a moment that speaks to maturity in professional wrestling. There was a time when tributes were reserved for retirement ceremonies or memorial events. Now, they happen quietly, authentically, between competitors who understand that professional wrestling is ultimately about respect. It's about two people engaging in a physical and psychological battle that tells a story for the audience. When that battle is finished, when that story is told, what remains is the respect earned through the effort, the work, the commitment to excellence. The implications of Roman, The Undertaker, and Brock sharing this moment are significant from a storyline perspective as well. It establishes a foundation for future interactions. It suggests that despite whatever rivalries might exist, despite whatever competition might drive them, there's a level of understanding between these warriors that transcends individual ambition. It's about legacy. It's about the business itself. It's about recognizing when someone has done something special. For WWE Express, this is exactly the kind of moment we're passionate about analyzing, because the real wrestling story isn't always the one that happens on television. Sometimes the real story is the one that happens when the cameras stop rolling, when the business of being professional wrestlers means acknowledging each other's contributions to an industry we all love. This is where psychology meets reality, where storyline meets humanity, where professional wrestling reveals why it matters to so many millions of fans around the world.